What if I told you that the way you've been setting goals in your business is actually holding it back? Today, we're going to be flipping the script on that. We're going to talk about how to set goals that actually drive the results that you want in your business. Let's go. So maybe you've been like me. You're the leader of a company, you're the leader of a division, you're a small business owner, and you set a big lofty goal for the end of the year, say $10 million in revenue. And you get to the middle of the year and you haven't actually reached halfway of what you expected that goal to be. You're not on pace to hit that goal. And you're sitting around, you're looking around to your team and you're wondering, why haven't we hit the goal? Why aren't we on pace to hit the goal that we set? A lot of times when we set outcome-based goals, it can be very difficult to hold each other accountable to driving the results that we actually want. A lot of our outcome-based goals are not dependent on us. They're dependent on someone else. I don't know if you're like me, but you can't make people give you money, right? You can control certain actions, but you can't control their decision to take money out of their pocket and to give to your business. And so one of the things that we'll be talking about today is how to set great habit-based goals for your organization and for your business in order to be able to drive the performance and the outcome-based goals that you'd like to see for you in your company. So it doesn't matter what kind of business you are. HVAC services business, a landscaping business, a marketing agency, a law firm, a consulting business, any kind of business can benefit from setting habit-based goals to drive the performance for your organization. So let's talk about it today. So most of us actually learn to set goals the backwards way. We typically start and end with the end results, the profit goal, the revenue goal. And we don't focus enough on the leading actions that actually help us get to those end result, right? And so what is the solution to this problem, right? The solution is pretty simple and kind of hinted at it. I talked about habit-based goals, but that's actually a better name for them is actually to call them activity goals, right? Activity goals actually have the word act in them because they require action from team members in order to be able to drive long-term results for the business. And so we're going to kind of jump into talking about how we set activity-based goals for the business and how they impact the long-term results of our teams and our organizations. But before that, let's talk about what the difference is between dreams and goals within your organization and within your business. Dream, as you know, happens when you are asleep. It's great, right? You don't have to take any action, right? You dream up something and you can be whatever you want to be when you're asleep, right? But a goal, on the other hand, is what helps make the dream the reality, right? So the goal makes your dream a reality. And goals happen when you're awake, not when you're asleep, because you have to be an active participant in making the dream happen. And that's one major difference between a goal and a dream. So when we have dreams, right, I could dream of, owning a yacht one day, right? I could dream of, being a frequent flyer on a private jet or the owner of a private jet. But without actions, I'm actually just being delusional. And that's really key. If there are no actions that are going to back up the dream that I've set, I'm actually just being delusional. Here's one example. I want to own a multi-million-dollar business. All right, that's a dream, and it's a great dream, and I'm sure a lot of us have dreams like that. But that dream doesn't get fulfilled if I'm not taking an action. So what is the action that I need to take in order to own a multi-million-dollar business? The action that I need to take is get customer number one, and then eventually I need to get customer number two, and number three, and number 10, right? And so taking those actions of winning customers is actually what gets us to the point where we can own a multi-million-dollar business one day. Obviously, there are many other actions that you can take, but you need to take specific actions and steps in order to fulfill that dream, is the point. I want six-pack abs, right? So say I've been working to get myself six-pack abs, right? That's a dream that I have and that I hope for. But in order for me to fulfill that dream, what are the actions I need to take? Maybe for me or for you, the action that you need to take is you need to do 100 crunches a day. That's the action that you need to take in order to get six-pack abs. I want to retire early. That's a great vision. Well, just having that vision does not make it happen. And so what are the specific goals that you're going to set in order to be able to achieve that vision? One example might be, I need to save $100 a month. Although in this economy, $100 is not going to get you to retire early, but just to make the point that there are specific actions that we need to take in order to achieve the long-term objective of retiring early. So you might have heard the concepts we're talking about in this conversation referred to as leading and lagging indicators. Okay, so leading and lagging indicators. So leading ahead, lagging behind. That's a really quick way to think about them. But if we were to further define it in the context of developing goals, what we would say is lagging indicators look at the past. Lagging indicators look at the past. What do leading indicators? Leading indicators predict the future. I would say that activity goals are leading indicators. Okay? They are leading indicators, and outcome-based goals are lagging indicators. In the landscaping business, a leading indicator would be the number of lawns you service in a week, right? The lagging indicator would be your monthly sales. So the more lawns we service, right, the higher monthly sales would be. So you're not directly acting on the monthly sales itself, right? You're acting on the number of lawn service. That's what you can do on a week in and a week out basis to ensure that your monthly sales continues to climb. Let's look at another example. I'm a marketing agency, right? Leading indicator, number of customer complaints. Okay, so the more customer complaints I have, the likelihood that my client retention is going to be down. Okay, the fewer customer complaints I have, the likelihood that my client retention rate is going to be up, right? And so that's the way to think about it. So if I can work on my customer complaints by reducing them, my client retention rate is going to be higher. You're a consulting firm. You want to continue to increase your revenue or your total billings, right? So we have to increase our number of proposals. If we increase our number of proposals, right, our total billings should climb. Now, there's a certain conversion rate of proposals to total billings, right? And so that might be another leading indicator. It could be the conversion rate of proposals. Okay, and these two would be leading indicators for the total billings for your consulting firm. So number of proposals, conversion rate of proposals, and the higher conversion rate of proposals are, the higher total billings could be, right? So that's a good way to think about leading versus lagging indicators. Why don't you comment and put a comment below? What are some good examples of leading and lagging indicators in your own business? I'd be interested to learn what kind of businesses you run and what are good examples of leading and lagging indicators in your business. But let's talk about why activity goals matter. Why do they matter? And in my opinion, why do they matter more than outcome-based goals? So there are three main reasons I think activity goals actually matter more than your outcome-based goals. So let me give you a shocking truth about me and about the businesses that I've had the opportunity to lead. Of all the years that I've had the opportunity to run businesses, run organizations, run divisions, I've never actually hit my outcome-based goals. That's pretty shocking, right? Well, I should put a caveat to that. What I really mean by not hitting it is I have never actually hit it on the head. So I might have set a $5 million goal, but I might have hit $5.5 million, or I might have hit 4.9 or $5.024 million, but never actually hit the goal itself on its head. And what that essentially means is I don't always have direct control over exactly how much that outcome-based goal will be. And we talked about this a little bit earlier. You can't always control the outcome, but you can control the actions that you take to attain that outcome. So the first reason that outcome-based goals, or that activity-based goals, in my opinion, are more important to track, measure, and get right, is the fact that you can control them, right? As a leader, as an owner, you want to control as much as you can control, and then the results will take care of itself, right? Have good process, results will take care of itself. And activity-based goals function in that fashion as well. So that's reason number one. Second reason that activity-based goals are important is that it helps you to build momentum towards achieving success, right? Helps you to drive predictable results, right? Winning the lottery is not really a predictable result, right? You could play the lottery tomorrow, you might win and you might not win. It's not something that you can actually predict with any level of certainty. But what you want to do in your business is you don't want your business to feel like you're playing the lottery. You want it to feel more like there are specific actions that you can take if you do them efficiently, right? And have a certain conversion rate from those actions, that you can drive predictable results for your organization, for your team, and for everyone involved, right? So it helps to build momentum. That's the second reason. So the third reason is probably the most important reason of all, right? So maybe you're like me and you sat across from a member of your team or members of your team, and your employees, and you've had that conversation of, hey, what happened today? Or what happened this month? We did really well, or we didn't do so well, right? And what typically occurs in that meeting is, we either patting ourselves on the back for, oh yeah, we worked really hard and, we're able to achieve the result, or, well, these are the 10 or 15 reasons why we did not meet the expectations that we set for the outcome-based goal. And one of the things that activity-based goals help us do is it helps to drive accountability with the team for the actions that help us to drive the activity-based goals. Instead of waiting till a month from now to figure out if we hit the outcome-based goal, we can tell today if we're taking the actions, right, that we set ahead of us in order to achieve those outcome-based goals, right? So this is the most important one, right, is it makes conversations with employees really easy. You either perform the task you were supposed to, or you did not perform the task. It can be sometimes difficult to hold someone accountable to an outcome-based result. It's not clear what the specific tasks should be on a day in and day out basis that they should be carrying out in order to achieve those outcome-based goals. So, like we talked about, team accountability is the important reason, in my opinion, that activity-based goals are the way to go within your organization. Again, not saying that we shouldn't have the outcome-based goals, but the activity-based goals are going to be what drives the attainment of those outcome-based goals that you set for your organization. So let's talk about how to set activity-based goals. So there are three main steps to setting activity-based goals. So the first step is you want to set the outcome-based goals that you want. So start with the outcome you want, right? So it's the $5 million number, the $10 million number at the end of the year that you want to attain for that year. Or you want to grow 20%. In many cases, I would suggest that if you're going to set a percentage growth rate, that you also kind of set the corresponding dollar value, because that can sometimes be easier to track and easier to measure. So start with the outcome you want. The second step is to break that outcome-based goal that you just set into specific actions, right? Right. So now this is the point about setting the activity goals, right? And then the third step is to set a numerical target for those actions, right? So it's a three-step process. Set the outcome-based goal, break the outcome-based goal into specific actions, and then the third step is to set a numerical target. So let's use the example of an HVAC business. So that's the business that sells AC units and furnaces to homeowners. And let's assume that the goal is to grow revenue by $1 million. Okay? So that's a goal. Grow revenue by $1 million. HVAC, AC, furnace, repair and replacement. So one of the things that I usually like to do is to break down any goal into its component pieces. Okay, So in this case, right, when we think about revenue, there are usually two pieces of the puzzle when it comes to revenue, right? In order to drive revenue, you are either going to be working on price or you're going to be working on your volume. So volume can be, your units sold, number of calls, repair calls performed, and things like that. For the purpose of this, we're going to not talk about price. Price has a whole lot more to focus on outside of what we'll talk about today, and I'll have a separate video about that. We're going to focus more on volume and the actions that we can take associated with volume. Like we said, right? So step one is set the outcome-based goal. Step two is to figure out what the specific actions that we need to take would be in order to drive that outcome-based goal. So let's start to do that now. So actions. So let's think about it together, right? So in the case of a business that sells new AC units and new furnace units and does repairs, right? What are some of the actions that are necessary? Well, one could be the number of booked appointments. Okay, so that's one. What else would we need to do? So if we're going to grow by $1 million, we probably need many more technicians. We need to hire more technicians. So another action that we need to take is to hire technicians. Okay, that's another one. How about to get the book calls? If we need to get the book calls, there's certain things that we need to do. We need to take some marketing action. So it might be sending email campaigns. We might need to get more visitors to our website. So website visits. Okay. How about from an operational perspective? So we want our technicians to go out and get the job done right the first time. Okay. So because if they get it done right the first time, it means they don't have to go back out the second time, right? And that second time will be new revenue for us. So how about our first time fix rate? So we've got 5 actions. So we've got 5 sample actions, and for your organization, you could have several more. But something I wanted to point out here and show is that if you look at the actions that we set here, we can place them into different functions for your business, right? So the sales function might be responsible for booked appointments, right? Your HR team is responsible for hiring techs. Your marketing team is responsible for email campaigns. And they're also responsible for website visits, right? Your operations team might be responsible for your first time fix rate. And if you look at what we've done here, right? So the actions that we set from the broad organizational goal, which is to grow revenue by $1 million, right? So we set a bunch of actions for our different functions, right, to help enable, right, this goal, right? And so when you're having those one-on-one conversations with your team, you focus in on what are the things that are going to help us drive the broader organization goal that we've set. So I hope this shows the power of activity-based goals, is that you can create a system that allows for your team to focus in on the most important priorities for your organization. And that way, you as the owner, right, or as the CEO, isn't having to drive all the action. your team has specific responsibilities that they are accountable for, that have numbers associated with them that they use to drive the organizational goals. Activity-based goals really create and make a difference, in the way that your organization performs and the way team stays accountable, and in the way that you build momentum for driving predictable results within your business. So why did you leave a few comments? What are some activity-based goals that you use within your business that are effective? What are some other things that we could have added here that could be useful to others that run businesses that are similar to yours that we might not have used as examples? What kind of businesses do you run? And also give some suggestions about what kind of videos you'd like to see from me as well.